at an earlier time and in a different conflict, namely the American Civil War. An historically documented account illustrates courage coupled with mercy. From December 11th to 13th, 1862, the Union forces attacked Marye's Heights, a large hill overlooking the town of Richmond, Virginia, where 6,000 rebels awaited them. The Southern troops were in very secure positions behind a stone wall which meandered along the foot of the hill. In addition, they stood 4 deep in a sunken road behind the wall, out of sight of Union forces. The Union troops, over 40,000 strong, launched a series of suicidal attacks across open ground. They were mowed down by a scythe of shot. None got closer than 40 yards from the stone wall. Soon the ground in front of the Confederate positions was littered with hundreds, then thousands of fallen Union soldiers in their blue uniforms, over 12,000 before sunset. Crying for help, the wounded lay in the bitter cold throughout that terrible night. The next day, a Sunday, dawned cold and foggy. As the morning fog lifted, the agonized cries of the wounded could still be heard. Finally, a young Confederate soldier, a 19-year-old sergeant, had had all he could take. The young man's name was Richard Rowland Kirkland. To his commanding officer, Kirkland exclaimed, "All night and all day I've heard those poor people crying for water, and I can stand it no longer. I ask permission to go and give them water." His request was initially denied on the grounds that it was too dangerous. Finally, however, permission was granted, and soon thousands of amazed men on both sides saw the young soldier, with several canteens draped around his neck, climb over the wall and walk to the nearest wounded Union soldier. He raised the stricken man's head, gently gave him a drink, and covered him with his own overcoat. Then he moved to the next of the wounded, and the next, and the next. As Kirkland's purpose became clear, fresh cries of "Water, water, for God's sake, water," arose all over the field. The Union soldiers were at first too surprised to shoot. Soon they began to cheer the young Southerner as they saw what he was doing. For more than an hour and a half, Sergeant Kirkland continued his work of mercy. Tragically, Richard Kirkland was himself killed a few months later at the Battle of Chickamauga. His last words to his companions were, "Save yourselves and tell my pa I died right." Kirkland's Christ-like compassion made his name synonymous with mercy. For a post-Civil War generation, both North and South, he became known by soldiers on both sides of the conflict as the Angel of Marye's Heights. His loving errand of mercy is commemorated by a bronze monument which stands today in front of the stone wall at Fredericksburg. It depicts Sergeant Kirkland lifting the head of a wounded Union soldier to give him a drink of refreshing water. A tablet to Kirkland's honor hangs in the Episcopal Church in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. With simple eloquence, it captures the essence of the young soldier's mission of mercy. It reads, "A hero of benevolence, at the risk of his own life, he gave his enemy drink at Fredericksburg."